Hey everybody, this is Michael Orrell from MobileBaron.com. Today I've got for you the LG Optimus 4X HD. It's LG's very first quad-core smartphone. This one runs Android 4.0.3 and was made for the German market. Okay, so let's pop open the box and see what's inside. Up front and center, of course, is the Optimus 4X itself. Feels pretty light, probably doesn't have the battery in it. Yep, no battery. Here's an NFC tag. It says it puts the phone into car mode. You would obviously put this in your car. A little bit of information on the NFC tag. Let's see what else is in. Here's the manual. You can see the name says LG P880. European charger. USB cable for charging data. Entirely standard. Set of white earbud headphones. And the battery as well. I think it's 2150 milliamp hours. Let's see if it says. It says 2150 milliamp hours. Okay, so here's the phone. Let's take a look at it. It has a large 4.7-inch 720p HD display. You can see it's got a cool unlocking feature. You can unlock individual shortcuts down the bottom, or you can just unlock the screen. IPS display, so it has about a 312 points per inch, so it would qualify as Retina by Apple's definition when you're comparing. Left-hand edge, it's a little bit hard to see, but here's the volume control right here. Got dual bands of metal and textured white plastic everywhere. The device measures about 9.5 millimeters thick, although LG claims it to be just under 9. Textured back panel where the 8 megapixel camera and its LED flash reside. Speaker grill down the bottom. Nothing too much to see on the right hand edge. 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, a secondary microphone, and the power standby button as well. And down the bottom we have the MHL compatible micro USB port, as well as the pry point for the rear cover and the primary microphone. If I pull off the rear cover, you can see the 2150 milliamp hour battery. It's a micro SD slot. Nothing comes pre-installed, although there's 16 gig of storage in the phone built in. It's a full-size SIM card. You can see I've actually got a cut micro SIM sitting inside the old piece of plastic it came from to make it work in here. I had to pull this out of my HTC One X. If you look at the back of the cover, or should I say the inside of the cover, you can see the NFC antenna, because this device is NFC capable. Give you a few more specs. The Optimus 4X HD weighs about 133 grams. It's pretty light. It has a reasonable feel to it. It doesn't feel super high quality because of all the plastics, but still pretty grippy, feels nice enough in the hand. It's got an NVIDIA Tegra 3 processor. It's a quad-core processor running at 1.5 gigahertz, and there's 1 gig of RAM backing it all up. The 4X also supports HSPA data connections on the 850, 900, 1900, and 2100 bands, and of course quad-band GSM as well. So right now I'm using on AT&T's network with full HSPA support. The Optimus 4X HD supports Wi-Fi connections naturally, 802.11a, b, g, and n. Also supports Wi-Fi Direct and DLNA for sharing to devices like televisions. Bluetooth 4.0. NFC capability as well, as I alluded to when we were looking at the antenna there, and I'll show you how some of the tags that LG includes work. On the front of the Optimus 4X HD, above the display, you'll find a 1.3 megapixel camera. Records 720p video as well. Some sensors there. Down at the bottom, one of the things that bothers me on the device, you can see the touch sensors down here. There's 3 of them, which I like, but they're not standard Android 4.0. You've got a menu button here and a home button. And in order to get to the task switcher, which I use all the time, you have to long press the home button. I don't really like that too much. Also, the white on white color scheme makes it a little hard to see, although it's really easy to find because you just mash your finger anywhere in the middle and you know you're going to get to home anyway. Got the pinch gesture support on the home screen. course you can just hit home to get back to the main panel. So now let's take a look around what LG has done with Android 4.0 in terms of the user interface. See decent looking transitions. Down at the bottom here we have the icons that stay put. You do have the ability to rearrange them, of course. You can also move things into folders and take them out again. And if you like, you can move a fifth item down into it. If you rather, though, you could have the menu button in the middle, as you're able to move that as well. Notification area has changed a bit. You've got very handy shortcuts across the top, and better yet, you have the ability to rearrange them and determine which ones show at all, which is pretty cool. So if you go into edit mode here, you can uncheck, say you never used the data enabled toggle. You could just turn that right off and it's no longer there. And if you thought Wi-Fi should be the first one, you could just grab it and drag it up, which is pretty cool. So now you notice Wi-Fi is the first button. If you want to get to the settings, you just tap here in the notification area. And if you want to clear the notifications, just press on the X there. As with other Android 4.0 devices, you have folder support, so you can just tap on the folder to open it up. But if I move it into an area with a little more space, you'll notice that I can increase its size as well. It's still scrollable. You press on the plus sign here, you get into LG's editing mode, which is similar to what we've seen on older LG Android devices. You can go through and say look at widgets or whatever. This is kind of a pain to find widgets, though. You have to keep scrolling forever to get to what you want to do. But it's handy for changing wallpapers or putting in app shortcuts. The cool thing, though, that I was really pleased to see is when you go into the main menu, you can still get to the widgets, and then you have a full screen view, and it's a lot easier to find what you're looking for when you're seeing 6 widgets at a time rather than just the 3 in the other view. Of course, you still have access to all the applications, but there's some cool options. Let me see if I tap here where it says show more icons. It's going to make them much more packed, and so you have a lot of icons there. There's 5 across and 6 down, so you've got 30 icons in there, versus if we go back to, it says show less icons, it should be show fewer icons. And you can see we're only looking at 4 by 5 here, so it's a big difference, 20 versus 30 icons on a screen. Horizontal page, you go into setup mode, you're able to rearrange things. You'll see these are the applications that I've installed on here. They all have an X, so you could easily uninstall one if you wanted. You can also just grab something and move it around. Create folders. Let's say we wanted to put these 2 into a folder. Could easily do that. Say we're done, and now there's a folder inside the menu, which is pretty slick. This Downloads tab shows just the applications that you've downloaded and installed yourself to make it easy to find. I find I use that an awful lot in Sense 4.0 on HTC devices. I'm going to long press the home button here again to bring up the Task Manager. Get into Settings. I'm going to show you something interesting in the sound section. I love this feature. It's called a quiet time. I have it enabled at the moment. Something we saw recently, Apple came up with something similar, although a little more fully featured than this, but still you get to pick which days of the week and time frames that you just don't want to be bothered by the phone. You could have it just vibrate if you wanted, or you can have it the way I do, whereas it doesn't make any sound whatsoever. So calls, emails, all that kind of stuff won't bother you, while quiet time is enabled. From this point it's like 10 p.m. until 8 in the morning. You can certainly turn it off, and then the phone will ring normally no matter what time it is. Not everybody is going to love the square design of the Optimus 4X HD itself, along with the square look of the user interface, although I do like the user interface. I'm not real fond of the design of the phone per se. I think it would look better in black, but I do like the user interface. But for those that don't, let's just jump into settings again and go into home screen, and there's different themes. So the Optimus theme is a little more squared looking. You see the shapes of the icons and stuff, but you have some different ones like a cozy wall here with angled icons and everything, which changes the way things look significantly. You can see the email icon is significantly different. We go into the main menu, you'll see that as well. Much less square looking. And just like you would expect to find in any third-party launcher, you have the ability to change the transitions in the screen. I'm going to put something, let's just say Jenga, something a little bit different. Jump to the home screen, and now you'll see how the transitions have changed. Jump back in and maybe change it something else to accordion. You can see how it's folding in and out, which is pretty cool. I've switched themes once again to the business theme just to give you something different to look at. But I wanted to show you the application manager. If you hadn't noticed, when I was in the edit mode for the main menu, you actually have the ability to uninstall a lot of the preloaded applications such as Polaris Office or LG's live wallpapers and things like that, which is pretty cool. You can't get rid of everything that LG puts on the phone naturally, but it's still nice that they give you the option for these things. So I'm quickly going to go through and give you a look at some of the other widgets that LG offers. This is the Today widget. Pulls in news, calendar, ability to add a memo, and there are a couple other things as well. You can see this is the picture calendar. I chose that picture to put in the back just to show you how it works, but some options for configuring and changing which tabs are there and the order of them as well. And this is the social network widget. You have the option of showing either Facebook or Twitter, and this is using LG's own Facebook and Twitter logins. If you install the third-party Facebook or third-party Twitter application, it's not going to work with this widget here, but I'm sure you can find something else to use instead. I've set up the Gmail widget here, and I'll go into the Gmail client a little bit later. Here's bookmarks. You can see I'm just trying to stretch past the last page here, so it stretches the whole thing, which is kind of a cool effect. Scroll up and down, get to more bookmarks, or I could resize things. Let's see if I can grab that and then split the real estate a little more evenly. And here we have the favorite contacts widget. You can see it's scrollable. I just don't have enough to make it really worthwhile to scroll. Other contact shortcuts here is a direct message, direct call, and this one pulls up the full contact record. And I'll show you the contact application a little bit later. And of course we have more standard looking things like the power controls and random shortcuts across the bottom.